说你跑了是给咋？我跟你说，你不拿出来嘛，不拿出来你是人家不告的。我跟你说，你不拿出来说派出所他敢来抓你。
In the video, this emotionally agitated woman is 53-year-old Ms. Jiang. She accuses the neighbors in front of her of taking the 500,000 yuan compensation for her late husband, demanding that they return the money. What exactly is going on here? Ms. Jiang told us that her husband tragically died in a car accident, and the at-fault party compensated more than 500,000 yuan. But what she never expected was that this compensation money was actually collected by several neighbors. Ms. Jiang said she has already confirmed that the more than 500,000 yuan compensation for her husband was collected on her behalf by these three neighbors. They are the former team leader Zhang Tianhong, the current team leader Zhang Tanghong, and villager Lin Jianping. Now Ms. Jiang demands that these three people immediately hand over the money, otherwise she will pursue the matter through the relevant channels. But facing Ms. Jiang's accusation, Zhang Tianhong showed no sign of guilt at all. Instead, he confidently said that if Ms. Jiang is not satisfied, she can file a complaint with the relevant departments. As for the more than 500,000 yuan compensation, Ms. Jiang shouldn't even think about it. Who would have thought that this neighbor, after taking someone else's compensation money, would still shamelessly claim he was doing a good deed? What exactly is going on? Could there be more to the story behind this? Zhang Tianhong told us that Ms. Jiang abandoned her husband and daughter for a full 10 years, and during that period, no one could find her. When Ms. Jiang's daughter was only 1 year old, she heartlessly abandoned the family, remarried someone else, and later gave birth to several more children. She never cared about her daughter, let alone paid a single yuan of child support. So, strictly speaking, the one who died in the car accident was Ms. Jiang's ex-husband. They had long been divorced. When Ms. Jiang's ex-husband passed away, Ms. Jiang was working away from home. Only 2 elderly people remained at home, and both were sick and disabled. The daughter was just 4 years old and had no civil capacity at all. So the neighbors helped however they could. Therefore, after Ms. Jiang's ex-husband died, at that time, the then team leader Zhang Tianhong wrote a recommendation letter. The woman worked outside, and when she returned home, she found that the 500,000 yuan compensation for her late husband had been taken by the neighbors. She demanded the money back, but they said that she had abandoned her husband and daughter for 10 years and disappeared without a trace. She didn't come back early or late, but came back only after her ex-husband died in a car accident. Everyone knows exactly what her intention was.
老公公是那种傻瓜嘛，然后就是老婆婆是那个哑巴嘛，说不出话来，然后娃儿年小，2年幼嘛，
就没得民事行为的，
没民事行为的。然后就是经过队上推荐，由他们3个人来处理这个事情。
When Ms. Jiang's ex-husband died, only 2 elderly people were at home, and both were sick and disabled. The daughter was only 4 years old and had no civil capacity. The village committee also contacted Ms. Jiang many times, asking her to return to become the child's guardian. But after abandoning the family, Ms. Jiang could not be reached at all. Therefore, Zhang Tianhong, Zhang Tanghong, and Lin Jianping handled the follow-up matters of Ms. Jiang's husband's car accident. Later, the 3 of them volunteered again, stating that Ms. Jiang's father-in-law, mother-in-law, and 4-year-old daughter had no civil capacity. The village committee could only recommend these 3 people. They later found the child's maternal aunt. Altogether, there were 4 people, and the deceased's compensation money was kept by these 4 people for the deceased's only daughter.
考虑这个资金的安全性，我们就想着拿一个车身份证，拿2个身份嘛，反正你要而且我们给当地银行打招呼，任何一个人可以取不了这个钱，
必须3个人到。
3个人到这，而承下这个责任，他不是一个责任嘛，这个责任就交给了亲戚的3级，就是走2的1嘛，就是交给他管。
To avoid any criticism, the village committee considered everything very carefully. This death compensation money belongs entirely to the deceased's only daughter. The child is now 11 years old, the elders in the family have passed away, and the child's biological mother, Ms. Jiang, had long abandoned her husband and daughter. She has not visited her daughter even once in more than 10 years. What right does she have to take this compensation money? But Ms. Jiang claimed that it wasn't that she didn't want to raise her daughter, but that Zhong Tanghong and the others refused to return the child to her so they could keep the compensation money for themselves.
这个小孩现在跟到哪个人？
小孩跟到我的噻，
跟到你的啊。就自从他们家那个走了过后，就爷爷奶奶走了过后就跟到你了。
那么爷爷奶奶还没有走就跟到我的，
就跟到。
因为他爷爷奶奶来自己都照管不了，那咋个有能力去照管娃儿哦？从4岁，我说从4岁我都带到现在。
Zhong Tanghong said that everything they did was for the child. Since the child's father passed away, he had taken on the responsibility of caring for her. Now the child is 11. But Ms. Jiang left for many years and never cared about the child. She didn't even return when her husband and parents-in-law died. Only after hearing that her late husband had more than 500,000 yuan in compensation did she reappear. Before she knew about the death compensation money, even when she knew her daughter had become an orphan, Ms. Jiang never came back to look at her. Her intentions are obvious.
我说不来走，你
他都是想回来拿钱，啥子不要，我要，都想钱，我跟你说嘛，真的。
After abandoning her family for 10 years and never giving her daughter even 1 yuan in child support, Ms. Jiang returned after hearing that her ex-husband had died in a car accident and that there was more than 500,000 yuan in compensation. Even though they had divorced long ago, in Ms. Jiang's opinion, this money belonged to her daughter, and now she could reclaim custody of her daughter, which meant the death compensation money was essentially hers. In Ms. Jiang's eyes, money is far more important than her daughter. Having been absent for 10 years, the moment she returned to the village, the first thing she did was not to see her daughter, but to demand that the people keeping the compensation hand over every yuan of the tens of thousands belonging to her daughter. The neighbors couldn't stand it, criticizing Ms. Jiang to speak with conscience, but Ms. Jiang didn't care at all. When Ms. Jiang abandoned the family, the daughter was only 4 years old. Now she is already 11. The grandparents were disabled. After the father passed away, Zhong Tianhong and the others helped out of kindness, fulfilling Ms. Jiang's responsibilities of looking after her parents-in-law and raising her young daughter. The 2 team leaders in the village had supported this child with years of selfless dedication. If it weren't for this poor child, they wouldn't bother with this at all. But now Ms. Jiang was turning around and accusing them, which made Zhong Tianhong extremely angry. At the height of the argument, Ms. Jiang's current husband arrived. He said Ms. Jiang had not only abandoned one family, she had also abandoned him and their child. He couldn't understand how thick-skinned Ms. Jiang had to be, coming back now to fight for her ex-husband's death compensation money. But one thing is certain, Ms. Jiang's old habit had returned. After abandoning her ex-husband and daughter, Ms. Jiang remarried and then abandoned her current husband and child. Her behavior is truly baffling. If she didn't want to raise a child, why did she give birth in the first place?
是不是啥子有法庭或者法官来判嘛？判给他，到比如说娃儿到时候要咋个办啊？这些你总要拿个说法出来噻。如果你光拿钱也好，娃儿也不管也好，咋可能啊？是不是？
The appearance of her current husband completely exposed Ms. Jiang's real purpose for returning. She didn't fulfill any responsibility as a mother, yet came back boldly to fight with her 11-year-old daughter over the compensation money. Faced with criticism from everyone around her, Ms. Jiang felt she couldn't justify herself anymore and turned around to leave. In the end, she didn't even go to see her daughter, whom she hadn't seen for 10 years. There really are mothers like this in the world.
At this point, there is something that no longer needs to be debated. Ms. Jiang is not a victim. She's the creator of all this chaos. 10 years ago, she personally abandoned this family. For 10 years, she didn't give her daughter a single yuan, didn't come back even once, and didn't take on even the smallest responsibility as a mother. A mother with a conscience, no matter how hard life is, would never let her child grow up in someone else's home. But now, her husband died, and there was compensation money. She appeared immediately. Before the child even had time to call her mom, she rushed in and asked, "Where's the money?" She didn't come back to claim her daughter. She came back to claim the money. A person who doesn't even care whether the child lives or dies. Treats the word mother like an ATM password. Takes 10 years of absence as something natural, and disguises her selfishness as my right to my daughter. What's sad is that the people who truly cared for the child were the neighbors. The ones who took responsibility were others. The only one who never fulfilled her duties was her, the biological mother. So what right does she have to take this more than 500,000 yuan compensation? Do you think Ms. Jiang still has the right to call herself a mother? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm really looking forward to hearing your voice. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.